Hello and welcome back to Holy Discourse. We are going to watch a next Taku video, just about the whole Joe Rogan trans debate thing, and I'm sure this will be a very probably heated argument. I've seen like little clips of it, and Joe Rogan's just like, nope, this is how it is. So he's very firm on his stance. It'll be interesting to actually see them kind of going back and forth instead of Joe Rogan just be like, I'm going to shut you down right there and I'm just going to tell you how it is. But yeah, let's jump into it. If you want to check out merch, I do have merch. Other than that, let's watch the Blue Voldemort that Nux calls himself to Hassan. I don't know. That was a bad intro. Alright, let's get this going.
Viral. Apparently Joe Rogan had Steve-O, some woke Hollywood idiot, on his show, and he annihilated him. Steve-O was trying to push agenda stuff, ice bad, and from what I saw, and this is literally all I know, Joe said to him, did you know that there were more transgender shooters this year than ICE shooters this year? And just completely shut them out.
Oh my goodness, the amount this year. Hello. I don't know why my computer decided to do that. It was kind of crazy. I mean, just in general, like, shootings in general, not just trans people and all that kind of stuff, just in general. Like, my goodness. Like, we had that, what was it? The one, like, Christian school got, shot up by the trans guy, and then we had the person who shot Charlie Kirk, and I think there was, like, a shooting either the day before or the day after at a school during the whole Charlie thing. So kind of, since the Charlie had such publicity because he was such a famous person, it kind of got overridden and stuff like that, which was sad to see. I want to say it was out in Colorado. I can't remember, but it has been wild this year, y'all. I don't know what's happening out in the world, but we all need to chill out and talk to each other and realize that we have different opinions, and that is a-okay. We can debate peacefully and not be doing that to people.
And down. So I'm excited to see what this is all about. People told me I needed to look into this, so here we are. Let's see.
Steve-O was on Joe Rogan when he made some shocking claims about trans people being oppressed.
Talk to this transgender person. They described to me a level of oppression.
Oh my goodness, I do know that. Okay, he's like on the, what is it, like, it's like Kill Tony, and there's something else. Is it Jackass that he's on? I don't know. I haven't really watched Jackass, so I don't, it's just not my kind of thing. But his voice is so, like, not iconic, but like, it's just so different that you just, like, every time you hear it, you're like, oh, it's that guy. Like, you just know. You're like, oh, it's that guy.
They, them.
That genuinely fucking broke my heart.
Not only does Joe dismantle the...
Oh my god, dude. It's so frustrating that people are actually still doing this trans stuff. So, again, for those of you that are unfamiliar with my opinion, I don't hate trans people. I pity them. They have a mental illness, and society told them that it's normal and it's okay, and now they're killing themselves and they're killing people around them, and they're violent to the same statistics as schizophrenics. And quite literally, we have enabled these people,
which is like a biblical thing. I think is it in Ruth? Let me check. Let me double check before I start just spouting off crap, because I think it's in Ruth that someone in Ruth, like, there was a woman in the book of Ruth that wanted to be called something different, but that only got mentioned like once, that she wanted to be named whatever, and then it continuously, repeatedly just called her by her, like, birth name. I want to say, I don't know if it's more, because I don't remember it in the Bible, but I've been watching The Chosen, and the same thing happened with Mary, because she was, like, demon-possessed and stuff like that, and so she wanted to be called something else. I don't know if it was, like, that, like, hide her identity or whatever, but basically, like, Jesus called out to her and be like, Mary, like, you're good. Like, the demons are gone. Like, they're all gone. And so it's just like a powerful thing. But let me double check in Ruth. To be called. I think it's Naomi. Naomi. I would assume that would be how they would pronounce it. Asked to be called Mara, meaning bitter, instead of Naomi, pleasant. Upon returning to Bethlehem after losing her husband and her 2 sons, Moab, she felt the Almighty made her life very bitter and broken, rejecting her former identity due to extreme grief and loss. So yes, it is in Ruth. Looks like maybe Ruth 1 through 21. But it mentions that several times in the Bible. I mean, the only time that a name change seems to be okay is literally Jesus calling Simon Peter and being like, you are the rock of this group. Like, you have responsibility. Like, you need to make sure all the rest of these guys are okay. And, like, you need to take care of them. And, like, it was a very, like, I'm putting you into a leadership role. And then you have, of course, Saul into Paul. My brain just brain farted. But other than that, I mean, it's most of the time in biblical standing, like when people themselves wanted to change their name, it was like kind of to be like against God or against their, I guess, own reality or just like the situation that they're in. So I would say what he's talking about is kind of biblical in the fact of like wanting to change that much and wanting to go away from your life would be like kind of wanting to turn away from God and just kind of do your own thing instead of being like, you know what, I am going to have suffering, I am going to have these feelings, I am going to, and maybe God's just like, you're not going to have these feelings anymore. That is totally possible. Anything is possible. But he could also be like, you know what, you may suffer with this. And that might be your burden to bear, but it's just kind of, but you can still help other people. And, like if you've watched The Chosen, it was, why can't I think of his name? I want to say Barnaby, but it's not Barnaby. It's, oh my goodness, I can't think of his name. It's in like one of the first episodes too. This guy is like basically partially crippled. He's got like a cane type thing and he's healing other people and he's doing all this and doing all that. And he's like, why can't I be healed? Why, like, I'm healing other people, but why can't I be healed? And God's just kind of like, I mean, that's the burden you bear, unfortunately. But think of how many people you can bring to Christ, showing them, look, I'm doing these miracles because God gave me the power, but, I'm still in my own situation. But that's the burden I bear.
That have mental illnesses, that are on drugs to arm themselves and kill us. All right, we are putting them in spaces where they shouldn't be, and they're killing us. It's insane. That's my opinion. I got a lot of flack for it. The transgendoids have been coming after me and stuff like that. But I'm not gonna, cuck myself into silence like all these morons, all right? That's just an objective fact. Everything I'm saying is true. A lot of people are unhappy about it, but your unhappiness does not make it any less true, and I do not need to succumb to your feelings. Your feelings are not putting me in some sort of emotional headlock, and I'm really tired of this, and I'm really happy people are getting...
I will say that the trans friends I've had, either currently or in the past, them transitioning does not seem to help the root of the problem. I think that's what they think is the root of the problem. But it seems like when they transition, they still have all these, like crippling anxiety almost, or depression, or whatever it may be. And it's just kind of like, they're maybe they're wanting surgeries, maybe they're just cross-dressing, maybe they're whatever it may be in their situation, but there's still a lot of pain. And I would say because they don't have God in their life, that would be my opinion, because I see people with God in their life, even when they're struggling with depression and anxiety and stuff like that. They're like, I may deal with all these things, but I do still have something to lean on. I have hope for the future. Even if I die today, I still have hope for the future that God will let me into his kingdom, and then I don't have to suffer with any of these things. And I don't, even though maybe a trans person and a Christian person is dealing with the same anxieties or depression or whatever, it's like one seems to have hope where one's just very hopeless in their reality of just, I'm going to live and die, and what's the point of everything, to this is the point of everything. And yes, I refer to Job all the time, but Job is a great example of, even if you quote unquote do everything right, that doesn't mean you're not going to suffer. Even Jesus suffered. He was God inside of a man, being perfect, and he still decided to suffer, to sacrifice himself for us. So it's like there's always going to be suffering in this life. We are not promised a good life in this life, but we are promised one in the next one, as long as we're with God. We're trying to better ourselves. We're trying to come closer to God. We're trying to help lead people to God. All these things are so hopeful. And you can even see in your life, when you start doing these things, you can call it instant gratification or whatever you want to call it, but if you're, say, some places I've seen have blessing boxes where they have stuff where you can put food in, or some places have food drives, or the post office, I think it's nationally, does a stamp out hunger thing I've been seeing, where you can give cans of food and stuff like that, helping people. Yes, it has instant gratification, but it's also one of those things that it's we're called to do. And seeing people in different situations and just being I'm able to help, just feels so good and makes you so hopeful for the future, that people can change their lives around and do different things, instead of just being well, what's the point of everything?
Tired of it too. All right, let's break down this debate. Apparently he destroys him here.
This claim, he's able to change Steve-O's mind very rapidly.
They said, hey, let me tell you, I am not allowed to use the bathroom at my own place of work.
He makes
Fucking lies. All right, transgender people are not oppressed. All right, that's one of the narratives that everyone uses to prop themselves higher up. Oh, I'm actually a victim. I'm a victim. You're not a victim of shit. All right, you could go to a bathroom, the one that actually matches your sex. That's the bathroom you could go to. No one's complaining about males going to men's bathrooms. No one. All right, the complaint is that males are going to women's bathrooms.
Makes it sound like employers are just not allowing trans employees to use the bathroom at work.
We've got
all trans employees must use the garbage dumpster behind the bar.
That's not true. They're just not allowed to use the bathroom. It doesn't align with their biological sex.
Exactly.
Okay.
That right there, he has no
That's a big different thing, though. It's not like they're losing their rights.
response to. All right.
But you got to realize, they're not all...
Again, this is the Hollywood woke NPC programming. He was just oh, what you just said is not true. They literally could use the bathroom that just matches their sex. Oh. So they're not oppressed. Instant shutdown. There's nothing to say. It's over.
Listen, I genuinely think there's people that feel like they are in the wrong biological sex.
The moment
That's called a mental illness.
that Joe pushes back, this whole thing just collapses.
Because no one expects you to push back. See, the thing is, the left has shut down debate on topics like this for so long, so effectively, people were afraid to bring it up. So there was no pushback. So their mindset, like quite literally, was never stress tested because they're afraid to even utter these words. That transgenderism is a mental illness. They would ban you from Hollywood. They'd fire you from woke land. Right? They'd eliminate you. Bro, the woke Jews would put...
I was gonna say, wasn't there something with like Pedro Pascal, like something like he was like going out with a guy or something like that, and the guy wasn't like woke enough, and they were like, "Oh, how dare Pedro!" Like, and it was like something. I think it was over something stupid, like the boyfriend like believed something a little bit differently politically or something like that, and it was like, okay, that's not. Like, he has a different opinion, who cares? And now everyone's like freaking out or something like that. The amount of like far left people, and I'm not talking about like just like left people, I'm talking about like far left people, like Hassan levels of far left, and like iDubbbz and all, a lot of creators and a lot of like Hollywood people. I don't see it as much out in public. I think I'm starting to more and more, but not as much as you see in Hollywood or like big time streamers or whatever. And it's like they don't even want to listen to a different opinion. They don't want to hear it. They just want to scream. They just want to like set cars on fire in protests just because, I don't know, they can, or someone made them mad and someone had a different opinion. And it's like, you know, at one point in my life, I was like, man, it would be cool to go to different, like, protests and just, like, talk to people and just, like, listen to why they think differently. But now it's, people are doing that, and then there's also people that are getting paid to be like, oh, I'm so far left, or oh, I'm so far right, that they're just, like, screaming in the camera, like, oh, you're a bigot, you're this, you're that, you're blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I just want to have a genuine conversation with different people and the different ways they think. I mean, that was my, like, a lot of my friends in high school. I mean, I lean like a little bit more right, and they lean pretty left, but we always just could have a discussion about things, and it was always interesting to hear why they thought, and they were always interested to hear why I thought what I thought. And or even in Christianity terms, they, like, I would ask them like, oh, why do you think X, Y, and Z about maybe how the earth was created, or whatever it may be, or like why things are the way they are. And they would ask me about, like, you know, how I thought the earth was created and why I thought things are the way things are. And it was really hard for me to understand them, but I would, you know, I would listen to them, and I would just talk to them, and they would do the same with me. Like, they would listen to me and like talk to me and like try to kind of debate, and I would do the same thing with them, you know. And it was peaceful, and it was, I think now when I look at the left and look at the right, it gives me a lot better perspective because I talked to those people in high school. Now I have friends that lean a lot more right, where, I mean, I lean a little right, but I'm not that far as they are. But it's interesting to still talk to them and see their perspective and be like, okay, so why do you think what you think here? Like, what about X, Y, and Z, or what about this and that? Like, I don't know. I don't understand why we can't just have a discussion about things. It's so fascinating to get into people's minds and see why they think. You know, and people not having that interest and just wanting to cause violence and scream at people and all this other stuff. I just do not understand. I don't get it.
You want a hit list? I don't know, man. So the reality is these are arguments that were never stress tested. No one ever got pushback from this because that was just the message that they needed to push.
But there's also people that are fucking perverts, and they have a thing called autogynephilia. And what that is they get a turn on by pretending to be a woman. They get excited by it, and they want to be around women.
It's not even.
Yeah, it would be different if every trans person was just trying to go to the bathroom. But there's a lot of problems with, some trans people being pervs, or some people just wanting to claim to be trans just to get into the women's restroom. And biologically, I know no matter how hard I work out, if a man is also working out, he's going to be stronger than me. Which annoys the absolute shit out of me, because I put a lot of hard work in. You know what I mean? Especially when I was in college. If I wasn't in class studying or hanging out with my friends, I was in the gym all the time. I miss being able to be in the gym all the time. I want to be in the gym all the time. I want to work out on weights, especially weights. Weights was a big thing. Now it's okay, I have 1 free hour, so I do the elliptical because it burns a lot of calories. And if I want to go hiking or something like that one day, it allows me to go hiking very far. But if I had my choice, I would want to do weights every day. And just be I'm just doing weights every day, and I'll also do some cardio too, because that'll help. And sorry, I lost my train of thought. Going back to everything. Even when I was at my peak, I was squatting my own weight. I was 170, 180 at the time. I was squatting my own weight. I was probably doing, I don't know, probably about 100 pounds on bench press, somewhere around there. I did not do bad. Even on free weights, I would have 240s, and I could do a couple of reps with them. I'm not weak. But if a man decides just to come into the bathroom and do something to me, unless he's a really bad fighter and I'm a really good fighter and I can find a way to kind of weasel out, I mean, even then, if he's got you in a good enough hold or whatever, you're not getting out of there. And it is frustrating as a woman to have all that work and just some man just, if they wanted to, just take advantage of you like that. It's it's already bad enough if you're doing sports with or working out with a guy or something like that, and they're barely working on anything, and they're just as strong as you, and you've been working your ass off, and they're just oh yeah, I started I don't know, a week ago, and tried to get back into weights, and they're already as strong as you. You kind of want to deck them, to be honest. You kind of want to take your fist and just put it on their face. Because it's frustrating. It's frustrating as a woman to see that. Because you're I'm working double what you're working, and I'm not even accomplishing close to what you're accomplishing. It is frustrating. But it's also, we have to come back to reality when it's certain situations like that. There's certain men that want to dress as women that will overpower you and will try to do stuff to you in the bathroom. I've never had problems with trans people in the bathroom. I've seen a couple in the bathroom, and it's just they're just trying to go to the bathroom, and I'm just trying to go to the bathroom. And I ain't going to say shit about that. As long as you're minding your own business, as I'm minding my own business, I ain't gonna say crap about that. I don't know. I just don't care enough. I don't. But I do understand that it's also a huge problem of there are people that are taking advantage of that. And it's not okay.
About people identifying as trans. It's about the laws surrounding the topic.
You know, because since it's a mental illness, anyone could claim that they have that mental illness. See, the issue is, I'm not even arguing that, like, all the trans people are perverts and stuff. I think that there is definitely a lot of overlap. But the reality is, it's in the brain, and it's not real. It's a mental illness, and I'm sorry that that happened to you. I pity you that you are mentally ill. I don't need to live by your mental illness. Your mental illness does not dictate my life. And I'm tired of making you believe it should. It quite literally shouldn't. Your mental illness should not emotionally blackmail me into submission, to force me to use language that I don't want to use, or to force, mostly women, into uncomfortable positions around men.
How that opens the capacity for the people that Joe's describing here.
And so you give them a fucking Willy Wonka golden ticket to go into the women's locker room and the women's bathroom and stare at women and pretend you're a woman when you're just a crazy man and you're actually into women.
You might not even be a crazy man. You might just be a pervert that claims you're transgender. Since it's all in your head, why should we just not believe you if you claim that? Like, again, it's such a non-argument. Like, the entire trans argument is a non-argument. It's essentially become emotional blackmail. That's it, because there is no actual line of argumentation that men should be able to go into women's bathrooms.
Okay.
That's real too, man.
I don't doubt that that's real, and I know that it's a super complex, nuanced thing.
What is
It's really not. It's really not super complex and nuanced, all right? Bro gets one modicum of pushback. He's like, oh, dude, this is like astrophysics and like hyperbiology. I didn't actually understand it. It's super It's really not, actually. Boys have a penis and girls have a vagina, all right? Like, look, man, I'm not trying to be controversial or anything.
complex? The only complex portion of this that I see is the neurochemistry claims.
But here's what's not complex. What is your chromosomes?
Right.
Okay? This is the same thing for competing. Right. All these fucking mental gymnastics that seemingly intelligent people do to justify biological males competing with females.
Oh, I'm with the, I don't think anybody's
It's the same
that.
thing.
No one's gone that far. All right, dude.
Well, yes, no, that wouldn't be fair. Why would you treat this topic any differently?
Right.
It's the same thing.
Right.
And especially as speaking as a man who has daughters, like, there are creeps.
You could tell Joe is a father. You can tell Steve-O is trying to...
Yeah, and it is nice to see that guys will protect women, you know. It's... How do I put this? There's a lot of being a kind man towards women, like opening doors or whatever, like, I feel like that's being lost, and there is like a certain like respect towards women. I think that's being lost, and nope, I still can't say it right. I get that. I'm sorry. Sorry, I got off track. But just being a kind man towards women and like understanding that like there's going to be situations that you're going to have to maybe protect them in or like watch out for them. I think is unfortunately being lost, and it's good to see that some people are still like, no, this needs to, like, biologically we cannot help it that out of the two genders we're the like physically weaker gender. Now there's a lot of stuff that we can do that we like rule over men basically, and we do a lot better than men, but there's also things that men do that are a lot better than women, and that's just one of them is just being biologically strong. Like, we can't help it. It's just how we're made.
You exist in the world of celebrity. And
Yeah. And essentially, we have an entire generation that idolizes the Steve-O types. All right? The not masculine men. The men that have never actually been men. The men that didn't actually, have a wife, have a family, raise children. All right, quite literally, those are not role models. Masculine role models, find better ones. All right, because this ain't it.
And he's afraid to take a wrong step and offend the wrong people.
And if you give
Coward.
a creep, and I'm not saying all trans people are creeps,
Right.
but a lot.
I am not saying that either, for the record. I'm not saying that all trans people are creeps. Let it be known that I too am not saying that. Moving on.
I was going to say, there's always bad apples in a group, and that's what we're talking about. We're not talking about the rest of the trans people that just trying to live their lives, do their own thing, like ain't bothering anyone. Whether you agree with it or not, if they ain't bothering anyone, don't bother them. You know? If you want to have a discussion about things or something like that, and you two are cool about it, fine. That's fine. Like, I think it's great to have discussions. Clearly, I just ranted for like 20 minutes about it. But, I don't know. I just don't, I don't have problems with trans people. I just have problems with people who are just not good people.
Of these fucking people that are in trouble for going into women's bathrooms dressed as a woman with a fucking beard and a heart on are just that. They're creeps.
Right, okay.
They're crazy men.
Steve-O is left with no response.
Because bros never engaged in pushback onto the sacred cow of woke ideology, which is transgenderism.
Well, you've changed my mind.
So you've got two things going on at the same time.
For sure.
You've got people with gender dysphoria that
A mental illness.
genuinely wish they were a woman or genuinely wish
Yeah,
they're
but I don't care what you wish. Your wishes are not my problem.
a man. And by the way, it's men that are the problem. No one gives a fuck about trans men going into the men's bathroom. Come on in. Who cares?
Well, that's because if they try anything creepy, you can just beat the crap out of them because they're women. So if they try to do something creepy, you can just put them kind of in their place and be like, no, get away from me. As women, we don't really have that luxury as much. That's the only reason why men are just like, I don't care if trans men are in the bathroom. That's literally the only reason. Is because they don't have to worry about if they're a creep or not. Because if they're a creep, they just beat them up and throw them out of the bathroom and be like, no. Leave us alone.
Cares?
The problem is people are going to flip.
The reality, though, is that's because, largely speaking, men are going to be the abusive ones towards women and not women towards men. All right? So when you have a trans man, which is just a woman, going into a man's bathroom, the chances of that biological woman abusing a man is much slimmer than a man who's much physically stronger than women statistically going into the women's room. That's why people don't really care.
This logic and claim, well,
I personally care, though. Just for the record, I don't have the same stance as Joe Rogan on this stuff. I'm way more radical. All right, as it says in Deuteronomy, a man that dresses as a woman or a woman that dresses as a man is an abomination against God. My stance is that it is inherently degenerate. All right, inherently. Like, aside from the fact that it might cause all forms of problems and issues and abuse and stuff like that, I think it is inherently degenerate and shouldn't be welcomed into normal society.
women shouldn't care either. Because to a postmodernist, there are no differences psychologically, not in meaningful, significant ways. We all perceive everything the same.
Like,
Hey,
no
I'm
one's
not-
going to
I'm
get
not- I'm
hurt.
not arguing
No
with
one's
you
going to
on
get
this.
hurt. This is the problem. When
Right.
you allow perverts to have this hall pass to go into women's locker rooms and bathrooms.
Yeah.
So you can't say you're not allowed to use the bathroom where you work. That's not true. You're
Okay.
just not allowed.
Not even exaggerating. Personal story. A friend of mine was in the hospital with his grandmother. His grandmother had cancer, was really sick in the hospital. And he went to visit his grandmother. And it was like a woman's only floor, like on the hospital. And essentially, at night, they make sure that there are no men on those floors. So he wanted to stay there with his grandmother because his grandmother was literally sick and dying, and they always want, you always want someone around you. A hospital's no place for sick people, okay? All right, so everyone wants to be around their family. No one actually trusts the hospital to take care of them properly. So my friend stayed there in the
Unfortunately, yes.
hospital with his grandma, and one of the nurses said, hey, this is a woman-only floor. You have to leave the floor for the night. There's no men allowed on this floor. And literally, without skipping a beat, my friend, and dude, this guy's like 6'3". He has a beard and everything, and he turns to the nurse and is like, "I identify as a woman," without missing a beat. The nurse shut up, had nothing to say, apologized sincerely and profusely. My friend stayed there that night. It is like, it's absolute insanity, okay? It's crazy world that worked.
To use the women's room where other women are in there because you're not a woman. And I know you wish you were a woman or whatever's going on,
okay.
but you're not.
You make a very, very good point.
This is what's always amazed me.
Wow, I
How
never
is
considered
this suddenly changing your mind? How is your mind in a place to be changed when it comes to this topic?
If you're a woman, talk to most women about this. And
Right.
That's exactly what I told you. This is the NPCs that literally got their opinions downloaded by the Hollywood woke overlords. All right, and now they've been stress tested. These opinions got stress tested for the first time and instantly shattered.
Unless they're insanely captured by this woke ideology where they can't see reality and the fact that perverts are still a real fucking thing.
Yeah.
And this loophole. You've given loopholes. Like, there's men in prison. I think it's like 47 biological males in California are housed in women's prisons.
If you were sentenced to prison for the
Insane.
rest of your life and you're a
crazy.
man, why would you not identify as the opposite gender?
Some
I
of
would.
them are sex offenders. Some
Yeah.
of them in Canada. There's a guy in Canada that they had to pay for his boob job while he was in jail
Oh
for
my
being
God,
a sex
dude.
offender, and they put him in a women's prison. Yeah.
I'm not arguing with
There's
any.
And why are taxes and stuff like that paying for that? Because I'm assuming this person is not paying for that kind of stuff. Especially in Canada, I think they're a lot more like chill with the free healthcare stuff. Is that really what you want to be like? You know what I mean? Paying your taxes for to just someone, a sex offender, to possibly hurt the other sex, which I'm assuming he's straight, because why else would you want to go into a woman's prison? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. 2 + 2 = 4, and that seems like math to me.
men.
But you are
But
arguing
you
that
are.
they are.
You are arguing that you could identify as the other thing, and now poof, you're the other thing. And if you're poof the other thing, you should be given the treatment of the other thing. So yes, you are. This is why objective reality matters. And this is why that you can't sacrifice objective reality to this woke, garbage, bullshit, nebulous, infinite bullshit agenda. All right? Because the moment you sacrifice reality, you are going to walk down a path that has zero brakes on it, all right, and it'll hurtle you down into the abyss. All right, the reality is men are men, women are women. This shit's boring. There's no way we're still doing this in 2026, bro. All right, in 100 years we'll be looking back at this moment and people will say, nah, people never actually believed that shit. But they did. We lived through that absolute hysteria, and we don't have to make believe it's normal at all, ever, in any circumstance, period. It's a mental illness. The end. All right, like seriously, man. So no, this isn't about slight little nuanced opinions about jails and sex offenders. That's just a symptom of the disease. The disease is you're not willing to acknowledge what reality is.
Pressed by this, so you must contend with it.
I'm not arguing with
There's
any of that.
men who have pretended to be women, gone into women's prison, had sex with women and impregnated them.
Yep.
All they have to do is
True story.
identify,
That happened.
air quotes. When you just have to identify, that's it?
There's no denying that if you allow
right.
me tomorrow to decide I'm a woman and have access to those spaces, you are opening the door to potential catastrophe, regardless of the frequency at which it has occurred in the past.
Oh yeah, I love when people are like, oh, but it's such a statistical anomaly. Who fucking cares? One is too many. A reality matters.
This is a revelation to Steve-O? Oh, I didn't know that.
Exactly.
No operation, no nothing. Identify. That is bonkers. And do you think they're giving them estrogen when they get in prison? Do they give hormone replacement therapy to people in prison? I don't know. But even then, it's still.
I was gonna say I doubt in the U.S. because, like, from what I've seen from like TikTokers and stuff like that have like been to prison and like talking about prison life and stuff like that, sounds, especially the women, it sounds like it's hard to even get like basic health care, like pads and tampons and stuff like that. So I would imagine that men wanting to become women don't get estrogen, and if they do, that's messed up because you're not even treating the women right, giving them basic supplies. So should probably be your first priority.
A man with estrogen. You can't escape your fucking chromosomes, okay? And until there's some sort of a CRISPR thing that like, you really want to be a woman, we can turn you into an actual woman. Until that happens, what you're dealing with is a form of gender dysphoria, which has always been classified as a mental illness.
I would like to delve into this with Professor Dave because he's the one who's making this claim that it is that you can map the neurochemistry to actually measure this. Therefore, being trans is grounded in biology.
Hey, and you make a completely valid
Wait, are you serious? People are actually trying to push that now?
argument.
Nobody should be able to tell you can't do something.
Dude, I love how blindsided Steve-O is. He's like, yo, I never considered the fact that this guy with a penis that's 6'4" and a man shouldn't be allowed into women's prisons and bathrooms.
Fucking stupid, like get a boob job because they are transgender. That's crazy.
Understood. My experience was that I didn't get any of this, like, sense that this was a creepy pervert, anything like that.
Who cares?
I just thought
They don't have to be a creepy pervert.
Right.
Right. But it's still a man.
Understood. I just thought, man, I heard what they had to say about, politicians trying to put them in internment camps and
None of this is happening, bro. I mean, a lot of them probably should be in asylums, don't get me wrong. I mean, we see the fact that there are so many of these trans mass shooters, as well as the suicide rate being at 42%. Like, these are mentally unwell individuals.
I mean, what was it? Mike, the only one that I know would probably do something stupid like that was probably like Mike, I think it's Mike Pence. One of Donald Trump's last vice presidents, because I think even Donald Trump was like, dude, you think people hate gay people? He hates gay people. And I think he was the one that was okay with electric shock therapy, which is, in my opinion, very demonic. That's not right. Like, you want to, like, if you think there's like demons in people or something like that, they should be just going to a priest. That's it. No electric shock therapy, no whatever. Just a priest praying over you. Like, I know like some of them have like certain, like, not rituals, but like certain things that they bring with them or whatever to help out. But yeah, like, no, don't hurt people. Just, matter of fact, don't hurt people.
But no one's putting trans people in internment camps. Okay, stop.
Can anyone point to an internment camp for trans people? I've never heard of this.
Not yet.
At this point, Joe is
I'm kidding.
wow, dude,
I'm
I can't believe you're
kidding.
saying this.
Who's doing that? What politicians are saying they should be put in
I think
internment
that there
camps?
was some kind of...
No,
there might
wasn't.
be one kook out there that's saying that to try to get attention. There's no movement to try to put transgender people in internment camps.
It's not.
Okay,
He's
well
right.
then
Yeah.
I'll land on this.
Do you know who's
Like, dude, and this is literally the shit they push. It's a trans genocide. It's not a fucking trans genocide to tell you that you're a man, okay? And you're never going to be a woman. That's not a trans genocide. All right? They do the same shit. Oh, Trump is elected president. He's taking away women's rights. Dog, name one right that's getting taken away. All right? This shit's insane. And people just fall for this woke fear-mongering garbage to manipulate, quite literally, the retards.
killed more people than ICE this year?
That's the clip.
Trans shooters.
That's right.
Do you know the
Straight facts.
majority of these
Facts.
high school shootings have been transgender people?
I did not know that.
Yeah.
It's almost like they're mentally ill or something.
Oh,
Dang.
how many of them? There was one recently.
There was one in the Catholic Church. There was one in at a hockey game. There was one in Canada. Shot up a whole school. 10 dead.
And yeah, it's a
Like,
lot.
he's laughing uncomfortably, but yeah, it's a mental illness. There are more victims of trans shooters than ICE agents, and ICE protests became a whole thing.
A lot of them. You know why? Because they're giving them psych medications. They're giving them a bunch of crazy hormones.
Yeah.
And a lot of them probably.
Well, and also they have mental illnesses, which is why they started on all that. So they're giving mentally ill people drugs. Wow.
Probably have mental
and not drugs to stop the mental illness, drugs to affirm the mental illness. Understand? They're giving them hormones.
Well, not only that, I can't imagine, like, as a woman, like, taking testosterone, like, what that would, like, do to me mentally. Because that's not something biologically it's not normal for my body to produce or anything like that. So to put something that different in my body to make it do something completely different, I doubt the rest of my body would like that too much, and I probably would have, maybe mental health problems or this or that, because my body's like in shock because it doesn't know what the heck's happening.
Dog, do you see women on hormones? They be crying and shit, all right? I don't mean that it says an insult. It's just a fact. Women that get hormonal around their periods or pregnancies, like, dog, they be unstable. Okay, I'm not trying to be rude. It's just facts. That's life. That's biology. So you're literally taking that instability and putting it into mentally ill people. Oh my God.
Struggles already.
And they believe they are being oppressed, that there are politicians trying to put them in internment camps.
Fill in the blank. And then they're
Doesn't sound like schizophrenia?
Empowered by thinking that that the world has done something bad to them, and that there's like a genocide against trans people, and they attack J.K. Rowling, and they attack all these people. Martina Navratilova, who's like a famous lesbian, for being a bigot because she doesn't want biological men competing with women in tennis. It's nuts, man. And it's like, either you...
Which, that's the crazy part, is like, even if you disagree a little bit, and even if you're in that community and you disagree a little bit, like I've seen trans people, gay people, lesbians, like bisexuals, like all of the above, like, might disagree a little bit on a situation of like, I understand that people are not gonna, like, some trans people are like, I understand some people are not gonna want me in their spaces because I'm trans, so I have to be very careful, and I try to be very respectful, and some trans people like wait to make sure there's like no women or no men in the bathroom, and then be like, okay, now I'm just gonna go in there and do my thing, and then just go out, just leave everyone alone. It's kind of like, if you have any of these ideas, you're just basically, you're like, well, you don't know what you're talking about. Who was it recently? Was it iDubbbz? I think it was iDubbbz. He was talking to, I don't know if it was an Iraqi person or what thing was he talking to them about, but he was talking to them about something, and they were like, well, I actually like live there, or, I'm actually like, I think it was about Iraq and like the bombing and stuff like that, and they were like, as this type of person, this is actually what I experienced through there. And then he's like, well, you just don't know what you're talking about. It's like, they live there. What do you mean? Like, they just people like that can just not get any type of like pushback, cannot accept like what we're being told, or what some government is telling you might not be the truth, and hearing a truth from the person that's actually living there. It's like, what? Like, you're gonna believe your own ideology and your own, like, whatever you make up in your mind, or whatever you just got told by the first thing that you got told, and you're like, that's what I believe. Not the person that's living and going through it, but that's what I believe. And it's like, what? That's crazy work. It is. So I just wanted to watch a little bit of this, see what was going on. Kind of seems like it's repeating a little bit now, because they're kind of going back and forth, and yeah, but very interesting topic to discuss, because the thing is, a lot of trans people are just trying to live their own lives, trying to do their own things, whatever, just because I don't agree with it, because I'm like, you should be just who you are, and Just, praise God, just, but some people don't live their lives like that, and that is their choice, and that's okay, as long as I don't have a problem with that, as long as they're not hurting anyone. And I'm just like, but there is some people that are hurting people, and I don't like that. And this brings up a very good topic of, some people are hurting people, and this is a problem that's going on in the US, and no one's wanting to confront it.